All right, it is time for one of our favorite shows of the week, the Mailbag. And with SummerSlam just over a week away, you guys certainly had a lot to say, and this is going to be a very special mailbag, so you'll find out once we get the show going. So let's do that right after this. I don't know about you guys, but I'm a huge fan of wrestling belts. I actually used to collect them in my earlier years, and I actually own a few right now, including the Universal Championship. And there's no better place to get your belts than championsbelts.com. That's championsbelts.com. They deliver state-of-the-art belts to you, and they're handcrafted by top professionals in the market. They've got such a wide selection of belts. Everything from the WWF, AWA, NWA, ECW, WCW, AEW, Ring of Honor, Mid-South title belts, NWO title belts, Hogan title belts, and one of my favorites, the WWF Smoking Skull belt. I actually owned that back in my day, and the original replica of the WWF Championship belt during the Attitude Era. Guys, this is where it's at if you want your championship belt at a reasonable price, and they are right now offering 40% off. They're having a big sale right now. So if you're a fan of wrestling belts like myself or a collector, head over to championsbelts.com right now.
This is WWE superstar Drew McIntyre, and you're listening to the WWE Podcast.
The one that everybody wants, me.
Becky Lynch is going to WrestleMania. Claymore!
Austin 316 says I just whipped your ass. This is my idol. You're going to acknowledge me.
All right, everybody, let's get things going here on the WWE Podcast with the Mailbag. And right now, we're going to do something a little bit different. We're going to start with the voicemails. And then we have a little bit of a guest host, if you will, to answer the emails. So I'll leave that to your imagination. It's a familiar voice. Okay, I'm not bringing in Stone Cold Steve Austin. All right, it's certainly not of that celebrity status, but certainly a celebrity in his own right, coming up on the back end. But let's get to the voicemails and see who's up first.
Hey Matt, this is Jeff from the Philippines. So I just want to ask, are you going to watch AEW's Rampage second episode? It will be held on Chicago, and at August 20th, it will be on Friday. And as Tony Schiavone announces on Dynamite that it will be held on Chicago, the crowd just started chanting CM Punk, and they keep dropping some Easter eggs on the possibility that CM Punk might be debuting on AEW, just as Darby Allin said that he will face anyone, even if you are the best in the world. Clearly CM Punk calls himself that. He calls himself the best in the world. And later that night, after Chris Jericho's match against Nick Gage, MJF cut a promo that is almost similar to what CM Punk said to John Cena 10 years ago. So let me provide some audio on this one because I think it was really cool.
John Cena, while you lay there, hopefully as uncomfortable as you possibly can be, I want you to listen to me. I want you to digest this, because before I leave in 3 weeks...
And this is what MJF said like a couple weeks ago.
Chris, as you sit there in more pain than you've ever been in your entire life, I need you to listen.
You see, those are almost similar lines, and actually, I'm still not really believing yet that CM Punk is already signed with AEW. I just want to see it for myself. I just want to wait. I'm not really into the part that okay, they got him, and because AEW got a reputation of overhyping something, and sometimes it always end up in a disappointment, but we'll see. But I'm still excited if they got him. I'm still looking forward to it. And I want to talk about the John Cena versus Roman Reigns match at SummerSlam. I think it's being thrown to the sideline, the build up to it, with Finn Balor is also being a contender for the Universal Championship. And if they are planning to go for a triple threat match at SummerSlam, I'm not really into that because we waited 4 years to get a rematch between John Cena and Roman Reigns, and I think that match at SummerSlam should be one-on-one. The top guy from the past generation versus the top guy of this generation. But I'm also a fan of Finn Balor. I also want him to get that shot at the Universal Championship, but I think he should challenge for it maybe on the next pay-per-view, whatever it's going to be called, if it's Clash of Champions or whatever. And that's all, man. Stay safe. Bye.
Hey, Jeff, I'm glad you brought that up because, as you know, I'm not a big AEW watcher. Not because I don't support it, as you know, but I just wish I had the time to do it. So AEW, I'm glad you brought up that comparison to the CM Punk promo to what MJF said. I think there is a little Easter egg there. There's no question about it. MJF knows exactly what he's doing. The timing is suspicious. The wording is suspicious. For those of you that are Park and Rec fans, at this time we would say that's suspicious, right? Anyway, those of you that don't watch Park and Rec have no idea what I'm talking about. So I appreciate that, Jeff, and I think there is something there. Like you said, the problem becomes that AEW, in its short life, does have a reputation already for overhyping and under-delivering. That's not a good combination. Now, that's not in every instance, and that's not for every scenario and everything they do, but I have seen and heard of instances where they have disappointed and overhyped and underdelivered. That's the opposite of what you want to do. I would argue WWE does the opposite in general. And Vince is big on not teasing something that they can't deliver. That is something he believes in, and I would second that. I think that any company would be foolish to overhype something only to underdeliver it because fans would feel like they got, catfished. And I don't think that's a good business model. So I think they know exactly what they're doing. I think that they do have CM Punk signed. Let me just tell you this right now. If CM Punk does not debut on the August 20th edition of AEW Dynamite, the crowd's going to lose their minds by the end of the show. They will, I don't want to use this word today, but in former years, we could say riot. But that's probably what they will do. They will be chanting and anticipating CM Punk the entire time. And yes, I will be watching. I don't care what I'll be doing. I don't care if I have, a child in each arm, and I have, screaming kids. I don't care. I'm going to be watching that damn show because it should be one of the biggest pops you've ever heard ever when CM Punk comes out. If they don't deliver CM Punk, the crowd will crap all over that show. And so there's that. And yes, I'll be watching the whole deal about John Cena and Roman Reigns and Finn Balor. The problem becomes that WWE is extremely formulaic when they involve the third party in a championship match, that it will become automatically a triple threat. And then they announce it as a triple threat, and we're all supposed to be just so ooh and awed by it, yet they have done it thousands of times. I hope they don't do it, but unfortunately the history is not in WWE's favor. It's against them if you're not a triple threat fan. I think that Finn will be added, because at this point, what the hell is he going to do at the pay-per-view? They only have like, a week left to hype the show. They can't just, 2 weeks in the case of SmackDown. SmackDown still has 2 shows to go, but they can't just throw Finn out to the wind and hope he finds something to do at SummerSlam. With 2 shows left, that's not going to happen. So I think he will be involved in the Universal Championship match, which is a shame because I do want to see one-on-one. But like I said in my shows this past week, what I believe is the case is Finn is there to take the fall, to protect both Roman and John Cena. It's unfortunate, but I believe that to be the case. So thank you so much, Jeff, for your voicemail. It is appreciated, and I hope to talk to you next week. All right, let's keep things going here.
It's Kyle from Baltimore. I first want to say congratulations on your kid. I saw the picture on your Twitter, so congratulations on that. So that's cool. My question is going back off your comment from last week about Becky Lynch coming to SmackDown and to have Becky take title from Bianca or something like that. I love Becky on SmackDown. That'd be great. I just feel like if that happens, I'll be saying to myself, wow, they really don't care about Raw. Because, you would think Becky will go to Raw and have put some type of interest on that show, at least in the women's division, at least. Because what they're doing on Raw isn't good. They're making Cosby champion. Rhea Ripley and Charlotte Flair I find very boring at this point, even though they're both entertaining as wrestlers. I've seen them as champ. I don't want to see them as champions for a while. So you would think with Becky being on Raw, it will make more sense, I would think. And same with Alexa. Alexa's doing a great job with her character, as a performer. The character itself is so. Like if Becky gets up on SmackDown, that'd be great because there'll be a Becky Bianca feud, and I love that Becky and Sasha are both my favorites. That they have both faced each other before. They have good chemistry, so that'd be cool. But you would think she would be on Raw, but who knows? If she doesn't go to SmackDown, that'd be really telling to say that they care about SmackDown even more than Raw, because Raw needs Becky more than SmackDown does. But that's my quick thought, and that was it. Thanks for our call. Bye.
Hey, Kyle. So I'm with you. Okay, I do think Becky Lynch ends up on Raw, and for the reasons that you mentioned, that the Raw women's division needs help. And yes, Charlotte Flair returning a few months ago certainly helped the situation. Charlotte Flair was a massive addition, and Becky Lynch is much more needed on Raw than SmackDown, because SmackDown's got it locked down. I mean, they really do. SmackDown's got it unlocked, as the Usos would put it. They do. Especially in the women's division, they're doing really well. Bianca is kicking ass right now. I'm really enjoying her as champion. She stumbled a couple of times and, has looked uncomfortable and that kind of thing, but she's growing very quickly for how young she is. And for the stage she got put on, she feels like a champion, where Rhea did not feel like a champion. She just felt like it was they were trying to use the championship to make her rather than her make the championship, and that's never a good formula. It never felt organic. They didn't know whether to make her face or heel. It was all over the place. Bianca is just so solid in her role and feeling more and more organic each week. So yeah, I think she ends up on Raw as well, because Raw needs it badly. And it's funny, as you were talking, I was thinking about the Raw Women's Championship and how the Raw Women's Championship, since Becky left, has really been cursed. I mean, since Becky left, 18 months ago, whatever the heck it was now, it feels like 18 months, maybe a little less. But since in May of 2020 is when she left, it feels just like it's been cursed. I mean, they gave it to Asuka. Asuka immediately turns babyface. congratulates Becky on her announcement of being pregnant, and then goes off into oblivion. I mean, essentially, it didn't happen right overnight, but it was a slow and gradual process. But once she got to the abyss, she stayed there for like 6 months. They really just did such a disservice to her in the championship. And then, of course, they just made Nikki ASH champion, which you guys know how I feel about that. And it has been a cursed championship since Becky gave it away unwillingly. So I think that her coming back to the Raw Women's Championship, it just makes sense storyline wise. It's just kind of a nice poetic return that she's chasing something that she never lost, that kind of thing. So yeah, absolutely, Becky Lynch belongs on Raw, and I think that's where she will end up. So Kyle, thanks so much. Thanks for the congratulations, and I hope you're doing well too. So all right, now guys, I think it's time to hear from another voice to cover the emails and the messages and that kind of thing, because you guys are tired of hearing me already. And I got to say, he does a great job. This is Mr. Casual Wrestling Fan, who is going to be covering the messages and the email portion of this show. You could call it a takeover of sorts, as Mr. Casual Wrestling Fan continues to put his plan in place. And as I watch it unfold, piece by piece, the dominoes are starting to fall where his master plan will be realized of taking this show over. I think that it's happening right before our very eyes, where he just suddenly is in control. And I just am a spectator on this show. So with that said, guys, this is the Casual Wrestling Fan who's going to take it from here. I appreciate all of you guys, and I will be back tomorrow with probably the last version of the What If from the vault that you guys haven't heard yet. I got to dig and see if there's one more you haven't heard, and then we'll start back up with some new ones on next week. Next week, we'll try to get things back to normal of sorts. But here he comes. Big shout out to Mr. Casual Wrestling Fan. Guys, hope you're all doing well. Take care. I'll talk to you next time.
Welcome to the WWE Podcast. Welcome to the Mailbag Show. As you can hear, this is not Matt tonight. This is Mr. Casual Wrestling Fan. That's right. I finally took over. You listeners who listen all the time, you know I've been plotting this takeover. And guess what? It finally happened. Thanks to me and the Casual Wrestling crew, we have finally taken over. And right now, Matt, he's out of commission. We'll see if he's going to come back. We don't know yet. But until then, you have to acknowledge me. That's right. But since I'm taking over the show, I'm also going to take over the format a little bit. So tonight, we're going to do something different. We got a special guest in here tonight. So, special guest, the beautiful, the best wife in the world, Mrs. Casual Wrestling Fan. How you doing, my love?
Hello, hello.
We're going to have some fun tonight, aren't we?
Yes, I think we will.
Because we took over from Matt. And I can't stress that enough. And guess what? If you want to be with us, if you want to be part of the Casual Wrestling crew, if you want to call into the show and let your voice be heard, all you got to do is one or two things. You can either email at Real WWE Podcast, or you can call the number. You can leave a voicemail. Tell them what the number is, Burn.
It is 518-952-0247.
Did you get that? All you got to do is pick up the phone, leave a voicemail, 3 minutes or less. Nobody's going to answer the phone. No creepy crap. You call in, you leave your voicemail, you hang up. You're going to hear your voicemail on this show. If you email at realwwepodcast@gmail.com, you're going to hear your email read right here on this show. And since I took over, I'm going to read your voicemail. I'm going to read your emails. I might handle your voicemails. I don't know yet. And, from my point of view, I'm going to be here till I feel like leaving. I might get halfway through the show and say, you know what, I'm tired. I don't want to deal with this no more. And I might pass it to the next person who I designate to take over. But guess what? I designate who takes over. So with that being said, I'm I'm still waiting on Matt to send us some emails. So while we're here, let me ask you a couple questions to let the people know more about you, Miss Casual Wrestling Fan. When did you first start watching wrestling?
Really, ever since I can ever remember. So I guess since I was in diapers.
Oh, so your family watched?
Yes, I grew up with younger uncles, so we were kind of closer in age. So I would always either play their video games on the Sega, WWE, or watch it. So yeah, most definitely runs in the family.
Oh man, I can totally relate to that. So tell the people at home, who is your favorite of all time wrestlers?
Dong. Undertaker.
Oh.
How can you not think of Undertaker?
Yeah.
I absolutely give that man all the props in the world and some.
Yes, he is truly an icon. He's a legend. He has done so much for this sport. It's unimaginable. He's had a long career. The greatest gimmick of all time, one of the greatest wrestlers of all time, The Undertaker, the Dead Man, the Phenom, and you know, he deserves all of his flowers right now. And oh, that sounds mean. We just got an email from Matt. When he sends us the emails, when you hear that sound, that means we just got an email from Matt. So the first email comes to us from none other than Randy, the patron.
You're listening to the WWE Podcast. We'll be right back after this short break.
When NXT UK goes off the air, there's only one podcast on the planet that breaks the action down live. It's Draped in Gold. Across the ring and across the pond, Draped in Gold covers the highlights of both NXT and NXT UK each and every week. Episodes are available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Play, and more, and at drapedingold.com. So if you love action from the black and gold brands, make sure to check out the Thursday afternoon delight, Draped in Gold. I don't know about you guys, but I'm a huge fan of wrestling belts. I actually used to collect them in my earlier years, and I actually own a few right now, including the Universal Championship. And there's no better place to get your belts than championsbelts.com. That's championsbelts.com. They deliver state-of-the-art belts to you, and they're handcrafted by top professionals in the market. They've got such a wide selection of belts, everything from the WWF, AWA, NWA, ECW, WCW, AEW, Ring of Honor, Mid-South title belts, NWO title belts, Hogan title belts, and one of my favorites, the WWF Smoking Skull belt. I actually own that back in my day, and the original replica of the WWF Championship belt during the Attitude Era. Guys, this is where it's at if you want your championship belt at a reasonable price. And they are right now offering 40% off. They're having a big sale right now. So if you're a fan of wrestling belts like myself or a collector, head over to championsbelts.com right now.
Welcome back to the WWE Podcast. Let's get back to more great wrestling audio.
Shout out to Randy the patron. He's a long-time listener. He emails in faithfully. He's one of my favorite people to email. So shout out to Randy the patron. And without further ado,
Hello. All right. Hey, Randy the patron here. First, the Corbin thing, I cannot stop laughing at. $100,000 was hilarious. I was sitting there going, what's he going to say? I thought it would have been $1 million. I saw that video after you mentioned it on Raw. So funny.
oh, Baron Corbin is just hilarious right now. I mean, I love this iteration of Baron Corbin. He is playing his role. I totally believe what he's selling. He's lost everything, the house, the car, his wife, the family. He He can't get a new shirt. He can't. Yeah, his car got repoed. His hair is just crazy. Oh Lord have mercy. I hope he's making a good paycheck. Honestly, you know, outside of character, I hope he's making a good paycheck to walk around with his hair looking like that. I know he wear a hat everywhere, but oh Lord. But yeah. What else did he say in there?
I love the Damian Priest and Sheamus angle. It's great Damian can do great things with this title, I think. The way Morrison was looking at Miz made me think he didn't know he was hurt. I have a feeling they're gonna break up and Morrison is gonna get a push.
Oh, wow. Now, I agree with you. Damian Priest should win the U.S. title. I think that Sheamus is just not working for him. You know, he hasn't did nothing with it. He's had one title defense. So, I can't get behind Sheamus. You know, Damian Priest, albeit I know he gets a lot of flack for the Bad Bunny, but he has good moves. He's a good wrestler. He's an up-and-coming star. I don't see a problem putting the United States Championship on him. And as far as Miz and Morrison, I like them together. You know, I'm going to be honest. I like America's Moist Wanted. You know, I like the drip stick. You know, I like their character currently, you know, and it shocked me when Miz took off running. I thought he was legitimately hurt. I mean,
You really thought so?
I did.
I did not.
I honestly thought the Miz was seriously hurt. And it tells me something, you guys, you know, my wife told me when Bayley got hurt, she said, no.
I stand by that today.
She said, no, it's a work. She said, it's not a shoot. She said, it's a work. She's not hurt. And this makes me question that. But as far as Miz and Morrison, I think Morrison deserves a push. Morrison, the way he moves in the ring, his moveset is his age. He moves good, just as good or better than Ricochet. I mean, the man has mad skills, and I think he deserves a good push, and I hope they give him one.
Continuing his letter, he says, I'm sorry, but I do not want to see Charlotte as champ again right now. I get it's to make her closer to her dad's titles, but I am tired and do not want to see Becky versus Charlotte again. Been there, done that. I'd rather see a Rhea versus Becky Lynch way. Better of a match, I think. Charlotte will leave any way Andrade wants her. He wants her at AEW, and I think she will follow.
Okay. On that point, I will say this. I hate that if they put the belt on Charlotte, they should have let her keep the belt. Now, this is what I'll say. I agree with you, as in I felt like Rhea should have beat Charlotte in the first place at Money in the Bank. And in my world, Nikki wouldn't have cashed in on Rhea, and you know, we could have prepared for the Becky versus Rhea match, because I agree, I think that's the match. We have seen Charlotte versus Becky. Now I will say, I'm not opposed to that match, because Charlotte is at a new level. And I'm not finna bash her or condemn her because her last name is Flair. She wears her last name, but she performs at the level of her last name. And that's something that people don't give her credit for. She's doing great currently. She's the heel of all heel. And I don't have no issue with her getting as many as her dad. That doesn't bother me, and I hope she gets that because she deserves that. Because let me ask you a question, Mr. Randy the Patron. Who you know that's a woman wrestler that can do what Charlotte Flair does? If you wrestle Charlotte Flair, you're going to have a good match. Charlotte Flair can wrestle a broomstick and have a 5-star match. So I'm not going to short Charlotte Flair. You know, shout out to Charlotte Flair. She's doing her thing. I'm not opposed to a Becky Charlotte. I do agree that Rhea Becky would be very intriguing, and I would love to see that, if not now, in the future. But if I'm giving away what I would want out of this match, I think that Charlotte should win this match. If in SummerSlam, she should get the belt back. And I hate that they play hot potato with the belt, but it happens. So
Where is Liv? I hope they don't release her. That would be stupid completely. Also, talking about releases, Elias is next. He's not going to do anything. Just watch him. And I think Mustafa or Ricochet, because they're pretty low on the totem pole.
So I'll say this. Now, Liv Morgan doesn't do it for me. So if you ask me, I'd have fired her and kept a tag team partner. Because Liv Morgan hasn't did nothing but complain. If we're being honest, oh, please, give me a chance. You didn't pick me to play basketball. Wham. And I know people don't see it like that. I know this is an unpopular opinion, and I'm sorry. I'm not trying to play the heel role, but that's how I feel in this situation. Liv Morgan doesn't do it for me. She shouldn't have beat Zelina Vega. Zelina Vega should have beat her on her debut. She shouldn't even got in the Money in the Bank, if you ask me. But that's just me. As far as Elias, yes, I can see them cutting Elias. And if I had to pick between Mustafa and Ricochet, I take Mustafa, because I tell you, Ricochet, his problem, he doesn't have a character. You know, they need to do more character development with him, but he has the moves, and the guy can go. You know, so if we could give him just a semblance of some type of personality like they did with Apollo Crews, you know, they turned him from a guy that smiles all the time with big white teeth to a guy that was on top at one point with the Intercontinental Championship. Did he have anything else?
He ends his letter with, anyway, I'm not fond of WWE right now. They're doing stupid things, and I can't see the better picture, honestly. Too much great talent let go. That is this week, Randy.
Well, shout out to Randy the patron.
Thank you, Randy.
Thank you, Randy. Yeah, thank you for writing in every week. You know, thank you for supporting the WWE podcast, which has been taken over by the Casual Wrestling Crew. But as far as your letter goes, I can understand how some people are viewing wrestling currently as if it's, you know, it's not up to par, not what we're expecting. And it could be a Thunderdome, you know, like a Thunderdome hangover, or maybe we was expecting more than, or some people was expecting more than what they're getting. But, you know, if you ask me, currently I have a generally positive view of the product. You know, I know WWE's biggest problem currently are their releases. But, you know, if we take the product for what it is, you're getting good shows. I mean, Raw was great this week, in my opinion. SmackDown has been good, great. You know, Roman Reigns is out of this world. You know, WWE, in my opinion, looks good. You know, especially going to SummerSlam, we're getting these returning. Everybody getting John Cena, even though Cena sucks. Everybody's getting John Cena. You know, you're getting possibly Becky Lynch. You know, Sasha Banks came back. You know, you're getting a lot of good stuff going on. Goldberg, for some people that like him, you know, you're getting content. You're getting quality content, if you ask me. But I can understand how you can look down on the product. I really can. And I can sympathize with you on that fact. And, you know, I hope that they can make a turn and maybe do better storylines or go deeper or whatever that they can do to improve the content that we view every week. You know, well, you know what that means. We got another email. Shout out to Matt. You know, he's at home being kidnapped by the newest member of the Casual Wrestling Crew, his newborn baby. So he's sending them, you know, when he can. So, you know, we're going to go with it. This next one is from DJ Kuzmo. Shout out to DJ Kuzmo. He's a long-time listener to the show. He's a patron. He's just great. You know, every week he writes in, he leaves voicemails. They're very entertaining and they're great. And Matt did say here that your email was so long that he's got to send it to me in multiple. So we're going to read this first email, and he said he's going to send the rest of them when he gets a chance. So without further ado, I'm going to pass the letter over, and here we go.
This is DJ Kuzmo, back at it again on your Mailbag show. First and foremost, NXT Releases. Again. Another week of more releases coming out of the WWE. Like I said before, nobody's safe in the WWE. Not even the NXT roster is safe. It's insane that while during an episode of SmackDown, we got the news of a laundry list of wrestlers from the NXT roster getting released. A few names that stood out to me that I was surprised to see get released were Bronson Reed, Bobby Fish, Mercedes Martinez, and Leon Ruff. Leon Ruff, for a brief moment in November of last year, was the North American champion after pinning Johnny Gargano in what seemed like a semi-roll-up. Crying, laughing face. With that being said, I enjoyed Leon Ruff's character as the prototypical underdog, similarly to Daniel Bryan, where we can all support and get some sort of emotional investment in his character. After losing the North American title, Leon had been used sparingly on NXT in a few matches and backstage segments. Bobby Fish, a former member of one of the greatest fractions in NXT history called the Undisputed Era, had come back to NXT in May after being away for 5 months. Upon his return, Bobby Fish was also used sparingly in a few matches, and since the Undisputed Era broke up earlier this year, Bobby Fish had been featured less and less in backstage segments, and now he is no longer on NXT. Mercedes Martinez, who was part of one of the worst fractions in WWE history, called the Retribution, decided to return back to NXT to kind of resurrect her wrestling career. She was inserted into the NXT Women's title picture against Rachel Gonzalez for a brief moment, but lost to Rachel. Then she had a brief feud with Xia Li, and pretty much no consistent booking for Mercedes after that. And then she got released. Lastly, Bronson Reed was recently the North American champion until he dropped the title to Isaiah Swerve, which I didn't understand, thinking face. Bronson Reed was invited to some dark matches and to be backstage at some of the live shows on the main roster. I really thought that Bronson Reed was getting ready to be debuting soon on the main roster, either on Raw or SmackDown. If Bronson didn't get released, he would have certainly been a future #1 contender to Cross's NXT title. In similar build and body mass to Keith Lee, Bronson Reed has really good in-ring ability and athleticism. But to see this guy get released just like out of the blue goes to show you that 1, nobody's safe in the WWE from getting featured and endeavored. And 2, the future of NXT is clearly going in a different direction than what is originally intended. I wish Bronson Reed, Leon Ruff, Mercedes Martinez, Bobby Fish, and a host of other NXT wrestlers the best. Hopefully they can go on to do great things in the ever-popular indie wrestling scene.
DJ Kuzmo. Boy, DJ Kuzmo, you did it today. You did it today. Now, I'm going to be honest. Mr. Casual Wrestling Fan doesn't watch NXT much at all.
Sorry.
But luckily, we do know of a few wrestlers you are speaking on. So let me say this. I don't want to take away from nothing you said. What you said put everything into perspective. Everything you said was true, was factual, and at the end of the day, it sucks, but it's real life. Now, I will say Bronson Reed couldn't move. I mean, people talk about Keith Lee, but Bronson Reed, I think, #1, I think he's bigger than Keith Lee. But #2, I think he moves better than Keith Lee. I mean, good God, that boy can move. And it is disappointing But it's WWE. Same thing with Bobby Fish. You know, he got caught up, if we're going to be honest, he got caught up in the shuffle. Everybody scared like cockroaches to get in a program, and he was the last one. He was the last one to the food, and he got the scraps, and he hadn't been used much. And, you know, it's always a Shawn Michaels and a Marty Jannetty in a tag team or a faction. You know, that's always happens, and normally whoever that person is gets left, you know, by the wayside. And that sucks. It happens like that, and it sucks that WWE is releasing so many wrestlers. You know, these are real people. These people have real families, you know, and we gotta all be sympathetic to that. And that's the number one thing. You know, these people are paying a character. You might hate the character, you might hate their guts, but 9 times out of 10, that person got a family that they're taking care of. You know, that their bills are dependent on that paycheck that they signed the contract for, and they no longer can get that. And that's heartbreaking. And I hate it for all wrestlers out there. And you put great perspective on that. You know, I can't add nothing to what you said. It was done so elegantly. And, you know, I'm gonna leave it there. I mean, you said a mouthful for everybody. This is a platform for you, the listeners, us, the listeners, to get our views out. And I'm not gonna match you. I'm not gonna sit up here and talk about your opinion. I'm gonna let your opinion stand where it's at. Your opinion, what you said enough for everybody. So DJ Kuzmo, we salute you because you put that into great perspective. Matt said he's gonna send us the rest of your email. He said it's like 2 or 3 parts. So Lord have mercy, you did some writing today, but that's fine. We're gonna get you on here. Well, while we wait, because I just checked and we haven't got an email from Matt, we'll sit here, we'll play a game real quick. You know, you guys can play at home. It can be fun. You can write in or call in, email in, however you want to say it next week, and comment who you think is hot or not. That's what we're going to do real quick. We're going to play hot or not. So we're going to take the champions currently, and we're not going to do the 24/7 champion, Reggie, because they don't show him on Hulu. And we're not going to do Tamina because Natalia's hurt. Hopefully, I mean, we think she's hurt. Now everybody's injury is in question. But nevertheless, so we're not going to include them too. But we're going to go back and forth, and we're going to tell you who we think is hot or not. So I'm going to start it off. You ready?
I'm ready.
All right. Roman Reigns.
Hot. Bobby Lashley.
Hot. Nikki ASH.
Not. Bianca Belair.
Hot. Apollo Crews.
Not. Sheamus.
Not.
Oh.
AJ and Omos.
Hot. Jay and Jimmy Uso.
Uso? Hot. I mean, because we can all be honest. Apollo Crews and Sheamus, they not really doing it. Now, I know you said Nikki ASH, and I'm not going to lie, WWE podcast world, I know you guys, most of you don't like her. And I can understand why. It can come off childish or whatnot. Kid-like, funny. But, you know, I like it. I don't mind optimism. I don't mind positivity. And I tell you this, Charlotte Flair, I don't know if she really has heat with Nikki in real life, but the way she beat her up that first match they had after she cashed in on her, oh, she beat her down.
Oh, Nikki looked rough.
Oh, she beat her down like that. This is just me, Mr. Casual Wrestling fan. I'm not saying I heard a rumor or nothing like this. I'm just speaking off of what I saw with my own 2 eyes. And Lord have mercy, that was a shoot. She beat that girl up. And the way,
was personal.
But the way Nikki looked at her after the fact and said she wanted another shot out of her face, yeah, she was being optimistic, but you could see the hurt, the pain on her face. You know, she took a beating, and she really lived her gimmick. And that's the point of my statement. She really got her butt whooped, literally, and had to get back up, dust herself off, look herself off, get back in the ring with Charlotte again. Charlotte dealt with her again the second time. She went as rough with her the second time, but she still, it's like, I don't know if she's trying to break her in like she ain't been wrestling a long time, and she has been, but, you know, that's just what Mr. Casual Wrestling Fan observed, and you know, it's not, you know what that sound means. That means we have another email. Let's see who's next here. We have an email from Wesley.
Hi, Wesley.
Hi, Wesley. How you doing? I don't think we ever had Wesley email or call in before, so this might be a new emailer here.
Yay.
So if it is, welcome to the WWE Podcast. Welcome to the Mailbag Show. Welcome to the Casual Wrestling Crew Takeover Show.
You're listening to the WWE Podcast. We'll be right back after this short break.
I don't know about you guys, but I'm a huge fan of wrestling belts. I actually used to collect them in my earlier years, and I actually own a few right now, including the Universal Championship. And there's no better place to get your belts than championsbelts.com. That's championsbelts.com. They deliver state-of-the-art belts to you, and they're handcrafted by top professionals in the market. They've got such a wide selection of belts. Everything from the WWF, AWA, NWA, ECW, WCW, AEW, Ring of Honor, Mid-South title belts, NWO title belts, Hogan title belts, and one of my favorites, the WWF Smoking Skull belt. I actually owned that back in my day, and the original replica of the WWF Championship belt during the Attitude Era. Guys, this is where it's at if you want your championship belt at a reasonable price. And they are right now offering 40% off. They're having a big sale right now. So if you're a fan of wrestling belts like myself or a collector, head over to championsbelts.com right now.
Welcome back to the WWE Podcast. Let's get back to more great wrestling audio.
Welcome. So, without further ado,
Welcome, Wesley. All right. He says, hey, first time emailer here from England. Oh, yay. Wanted to start by saying I really enjoy the show you put out, so please keep them coming. I've been a fan of WWF/WWE since the late 80s, dropping out on occasion, most notably from mid-2000s up until about 18 months ago. My mom passed away 2 years ago, and I think I got back into WWE from a nostalgia point of view initially, but am loving mostly all of it. I went to SummerSlam in 1992. I was 8 at that time, at Wembley Stadium, London, England, and saw, in my opinion, one of the best SummerSlam matches ever in Bret Hart versus British Bulldog. I think I was the only English person in the crowd cheering for Bret.
oh my gosh, man, that's an incredible match to be able to say that you witnessed. Like, I want to give you a shout out. Shout out to Wesley. Shout out to you. You know, you seen a big match. You have nostalgic memories that you can look at in the WWE network and say, hey, I went to that. You know, you have something you can pass down to your kids. And I know a lot of people don't think of memories as something to pass down, but we have to think most wrestling fans in general are generational wrestling fans. You knew somebody in your family, and most likely older than you, that liked it, or your friends liked it, and by product, you like it, so you put your family onto wrestling. You know, so at the time, Mr. Krauser wrestling fan would have been one. So I wasn't there, but a great match to say you have seen before. So welcome, Wesley, and we look forward to hearing more from you. And go ahead with this email.
Anyway, just wanted to make a couple of points. 1, I agree 100% that RK Bro is alive and well. This team definitely has legs. I think Riddle will forgive Randy after Randy tells him everyone expected the RKO on him and he just to get it out of his system. I then think we'll see them challenge for the Raw Tag titles at SummerSlam. 2.
Oh, okay.
Go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. Anyway, hey, let me tell you this right now. I totally agree with Wesley.
I do too.
You heard it here first. Mr. Casual Wrestling Fan, Miss Casual Wrestling Fan, we give our stamp of approval on what you said.
We sure do.
I totally agree. I think Riddle, as you said, he's going to be sad. He's going to come to Randy apologetic, and he should, because Randy told him stay in the back. Mm-hmm. Randy told him keep his hands off of him, and Randy does what Randy does. You keep pushing him, he gonna curl up, and he gonna bite you. And I think Riddle's going to be apologetic. I think Randy's going to look at him, like a little brother, and like, all right, come here, kid. If you really want to do this, let's go for the big titles. Let's do it big. And I agree. I think RK Bro is alive and well. I don't think they're going to split now, and they shouldn't. This needs to ride for a while. They need to get the tag titles off AJ and Omos, protect Omos. You know what I mean? And that's the main thing that we need to do. I agree with you wholeheartedly. They're doing their thing. You are totally right, Wesley. And go ahead with the rest of his letter. He's on the road.
I know, right? Number 2, they should have thrown Lily and Nikki almost superhero cape and mask in the fire with Elias's guitar.
Oh, God. Now
I agree, Wes.
Oh, now I'll say this.
Yes.
I'll say this. Now, Lily, I'm on board. We can put Lily in the fire. That doesn't bother me. I'm tired of this dog. Now Nick ASH mask and cape. Now, the cape cool. Now, let's not hate on the cape. Leave the cape alone.
How about let's take it all and just evaluate her.
No.
Yeah.
Leave her like she is. Leave the cape. Now, the mask, I can agree with you on the mask. Now, they should have did a better mask. I don't think she need a mask. I mean, she should just prance around with the cape. She's super Nikki. She almost a superhero, so almost superheroes don't need masks. You know what I mean? No mask, leave the cape. But we agree again. Stamp of approval from the casual wrestling family.
Number 3. And finally, I really think, and more out of hope than expectation, that the Bray Wyatt release is a work and we'll see him back at some point. As I've said, I've been back into the WWE for just about 18 months now and loved everything he did, catching up on all his old stuff on the WWE network as well. Anyway, thanks for your time and the work you do. Keep it up and stay safe. Wes.
Hey, Wes. We will keep up taking over. We're going to keep it up. We're going to stay here till we feel like we're ready to go. You hear me? For everybody in the WWE podcast listening viewership right now, I want to tell you this right now. We here till we ready to leave. Did you hear me? We're here till we ready to leave. Whether you like it or you don't like it, learn to love it, because it's the best thing happening today. Now, Wes, great email. I'm gonna respond to your last part of your email because you made a really good point. Now, everybody who's listening right now will tell you if this is a work, everybody's happy. Everybody's happy if this is truly a work at the end of the day. You're like, oh, okay, cool. I see what they was doing. You know what I mean? But if you're asking me, I don't think it's a work. And that's just Mr. Casual Wrestling Fan. I don't think it's a work. I think he really got fired. I mean, we hate to say it. And like I said, if it's a work, which I'll say this, me and Mrs. Casual Wrestling Fan, we agree that we hope it's a work. But I hate to say it's probably a shoot. You know what I mean? I really think, if you asking me, I think he's gone. And I'm not, I'm pretty sure we have some letters talking about firing, and you didn't specifically ask about firing. So I'm not gonna go on a firing tangent at this moment. But we thank you, Wesley. I hope you write in again, or maybe next week you want to call in. And baby, tell him what phone number he should call if he wants to call in.
You can call at 518-952-0255. 847.
You heard that. You can call in next week. Or if you want to email in, you can email it real WWE podcast at gmail.com. So thank you for writing your first time. We hope you write back next week. Maybe Matt will be here. Maybe we'll let him come back. Maybe we won't. We don't know yet. We'll see if we want to or not. But, Matt sent us another email. So I like this format. It's really working fluently. Let's see here. Oh, it's the part 2 to DJ Kumo email. So DJ, you back up, man. See there? With Mr. Casual Wrestling Fan, you get more time. More airtime, which is what everybody deserves. If you listen to this show, you deserve the time to hear a response and hear your letter or voicemail played or read. So, shout out to DJ Kuzmo. He's back again. So, without further ado,
the future of NXT. It was mentioned on a couple of wrestling news sites that Vince McMahon visited NXT to have a meeting with the NXT staff and observe training. Let's be real, everyone. Vince doesn't want NXT to be labeled as a legit third brand, nor does he care about how the wrestlers are being currently booked. Vince McMahon wants NXT to be a developmental system, aka a feeding ground, to get the guys and ladies of NXT to be trained on the WWE style of pro wrestling, or as Vince likes to call it, sports entertainment. Flip off emoji.
Oh.
Oh my goodness. With that being said, after SummerSlam, what is next for NXT? Because Adam Cole is probably not coming back to NXT since his contract's expired. Also, Karrion Kross will most likely drop the NXT title to Samoa Joe, and then Kross officially moves to Raw. There's probably going to be more releases from NXT and more call-ups to the main roster in 5 years from now. Would NXT still be called NXT? Or would it be called by a different name on probably a different channel, on probably a different night? Aye. Not to be a negative Ned, but I just have a hunch that in 5 years from now, NXT will be a lot different than what it is now. Remember when ECW came back in the mid-2000s after the success of One Night Stand pay-per-view in 2006? And then Vince McMahon basically relaunched ECW as the WWE's ECW and tried to make it a legit third brand, which eventually died a slow death in 2010. One of the problems with the ECW relaunch was that the crowd, which was mostly hardcore wrestling fans that grew up on the real ECW style of pro wrestling, were not emotionally invested in the current storylines, feuds, and wrestlers that either they don't know or can't relate to because it's not the real, authentic, unadulterated ECW style of pro wrestling that they grew up on. With that being said, sorry for going on an ECW tangent of sorts. NXT is in danger of suffering the same fate as did this ECW relaunch of 2006. Due to the vision of what Vince sees where NXT can become in the next 5 years, which most likely is a developmental system for the next crop of wrestlers to know the ways of sports entertainment. Aye.
Oh my gosh. Keep going. We'll keep going.
Let's all start to count down the days until Vince McMahon passes away. Crying laughing face? And Triple H hopefully gains creative control on Raw, SmackDown, and NXT. Quick sidebar questions. Speaking about the ECW failed relaunch, what if Bobby Lashley never left the WWE during the late 2000s? Would he have ever gotten that elusive major championship on SmackDown or Raw? And what if there was never an ECW relaunch? And what if the One Night Stand pay-per-view of 2006 was literally the final ECW show.
Oh my God, DJ Kuzmo, boy, you. Man, everybody, give that man a round of applause. Shout out to DJ Kuzmo. These letters he's writing in, these emails, he's writing in, they're incredible. I don't want to add no sauce on it. It's just, it's honestly what you have a great perspective, once again, about the wrestling product as it is currently. But I'll go over some of these questions, though. We can do that. What if Bobby Lashley never left the WWE during the late 2000s? I think he might have or might have not. I feel like a lot of wrestlers benefit from leaving. I feel like leaving heightens your stock if you are a certain star. You know what I mean? I think if he would have stayed, honestly, if we're being honest with the way the WWE is, he probably would have got washed out and got let go. And who knows? He might have been in the same position he currently is. You know, I don't think if you're asking would he have got a belt before now, I think the answer is no. I mean, I'm gonna be honest. I don't think he would have. Maybe. I ain't saying he don't have a chance. I'm saying, you know, it's a chance he could have, but the way the WWE choose people up, spits people out. You know, size and physique, it matters sometimes, but sometimes it doesn't. And I think he would have washed up, honestly. But that's just my opinion. You know, I'm pretty sure Matt might have a different take on it, but currently we took over, so that's my opinion. Your next question: what if there was never a ECW relaunch? What if the One Night Stand pay-per-view of 2006 was literally the final pay-per-view, you know, for ECW ever? I think that would have been the best thing ever. You know, I think the WWE messed up the ECW brand by that crazy relaunch crap. Because I'm not going to lie, you know, Mr. Casual Wrestling Fan, even as a kid, was a hardcore wrestling fan. That's why, you know, one of my favorite belts is the hardcore title. That's why, you know, I kind of like the 24/7 title. I know a lot of you guys don't, but it is nostalgic for me. It seems kind of like the hardcore belt was, but you know, I like hardcore matches. You know, sometimes I find myself YouTubing death matches. You know what I mean? Sometimes, call it what it is. Maybe people got bloodlust, but sometimes you just want to see some good, hard-hitting, don't care about my body type of wrestling. With that being said, ECW is that. ECW created that. ECW made it cool to be hardcore. They made death matches cool. They had a cult-like following. They had people at WWE events chanting ECW. People followed them. It didn't matter if they had to pay. It didn't matter what. If you was an ECW fan, you was loyal to the brand. And I feel like the WWE cheapened ECW by trying to relaunch. That was crap. You know, when I heard about it as a kid, you know what I mean, when I was younger, I was a teenager at that point, you know, I'm thinking like, woo, they bringing ECW back. We finna see some hardcore action. We finna see some hard hitting, and you don't get that. The Big Show's champ. Good God Almighty, who cares? So I think they really hurt. They really hurt, you know, ECW brand. As far as NXT goes now, that's a whole different subject. You wrote a whole lot, and once again, I don't want to take away from what you said because your opinion matters here on the WWE podcast, which is taken over by the Casual Wrestling Crew. But I want to say this. I do agree with it seems like you're saying in a sense that, you know, it might not be an NXT, and I agree that it could be a future. There could be no NXT. NXT, whether they want to admit it or not, is a developmental brand. That's where lower tier talent goes, or people who are on the indie scene go to learn wrestling WWE way. And we know that as fans, even casual wrestling fans know that. You know, it's not some, you know, and I don't really watch NXT. Like I said, when NXT stars come up, I normally go and I watch some of their matches just to see what type of person they are. You know what I mean? And sometimes they can send you on a deep dive because you like their wrestling style. But NXT is a third brand. It's not a third brand in my opinion. Excuse me. It is a developmental brand. I know they try to say it's not, but it is. And, you know, with that being said, I want to put this on wax because you brought up about Vinnie Mac possibly dying one day. I think that's the worst thing that's going to happen to wrestling. And if you ask me, I think wrestling will go downhill at the death of Vince McMahon. That's right. Mr. Casual Wrestling Fan said it. I know that's a very unpopular opinion, but I feel like us wrestling fans as a whole don't give Vince McMahon the flowers he deserves. Vince McMahon deserves flowers. He beat WCW. They took all his wrestlers, and I know you didn't bring up AEW, but I just want to say they doing the same thing WCW did and lost. But regardless, Vince McMahon is I don't believe in saying this, so don't quote me, lowercase g, but he's a wrestling god. You know, he is on the Mount Rushmore for wrestling. And I know we don't give him his credit. I know everybody say he's senile and all that good crap. And I ain't saying he got all this sense. But I'm saying I think wrestling will go downhill without Vince McMahon. Because right now everybody can blame everything on Vince McMahon. And guess what? When he died, what we going to blame it on? Let's be honest. So I agree that the NXT will eventually, could possibly dissolve. I agree it could be a different brand, a different night. That's WWE way. That's what they do. So it's. Oh, you know that sound? That means we got another letter. Woohoo! Yay!
Yay! Can't wait to see this one.
All right, this letter is from Kyle from New York.
Hi, Kyle.
Shout out to Kyle from New York, long time listener. Long time caller.
Big Apple.
Yeah, the Big Apple. Been emailing lately. So shout out to Kyle. You know, Kyle, he emails all the time and he voicemails in. And we appreciate you supporting the WWE podcast. So without further ado.
All right, Mr. Kyle. He says, "Hey, Matt. It's Kyle from New York again. I know it's been a while, so let me explain really quick. First of all, congratulations on the new baby. Even though I haven't been on the mailbag in a while, I have still been watching all the wrestling and listening to all of your episodes since the last time we've talked."
Alright, shout out to him. Shout out to Matt. He did have a new baby, you know, like I said, part of the casual wrestling crew. The baby got him kidnapped right now, so I'm glad to know, you know, you've been listening and paying attention to wrestling, so go ahead with that email.
Anyway, it's been a rough 3 weeks. As you might still remember the last mailbag, I was on the week before Money in the Bank, and I said I was going on vacation. Money in the Bank week, which I did. Basically, when I got back, I actually got COVID. So for 2 weeks, I haven't been on the mailbag because of that. And the reason why is because I actually lost my voice.
Oh my God. We hate to hear it. I hope you recover fast. And I want all the listeners to remember, if you get COVID, if you get sick, if you lose your voice, you get strep throat, remember, you can email the mailbag show at realwwepodcast@gmail.com. But we hope you get well soon, Kyle. We hate to hear that, you know, and, you know, just know we've been missing you, because I remember you said that about the vacation, and, you know, I thought you'd have been back before now, but I'm glad to hear from you. What else he said in his email?
Don't worry, I don't have COVID anymore. I am better now, but my voice is still coming back. It is pretty much back now. It just still sounds bad, so I didn't want to record a voicemail and sound like Steve-O from Jackass, crying, laughing face. So don't worry, if you do have a mailbag next week, I will be on there next week with a voicemail again.
Hey, well, yeah, I guess I take back all of my get well soon. No, I'm just playing, but we're glad to hear you feel better then, Lord. This is how you know we're just getting these emails live. I didn't know what the email was going to go in that direction, but I'm glad to hear you got better. We look forward to you calling in to the show. And
Yay.
For all the rest of our patrons or listeners who want to call in, you can call in at, tell them the number, Barry.
518-952-0247.
Don't hesitate, but I'm glad that you're feeling better, and go ahead with the rest of this letter.
Anyway, I actually thought of a good fantasy booking for Finn Balor, and I want to know your thoughts on it. I know this won't happen because right now it seems like Finn Balor is going to get a title match against Roman Reigns soon, But imagine right now, instead of feuding with Roman, Finn gets a bunch of wins from now until January and builds himself up. Then he wins the Royal Rumble match in 2022. He then goes on to challenge Roman for the Universal title at WrestleMania 38. At Mania 38, when Finn comes out, he surprises us all as the return of the Demon King. Then, as the Demon King, to keep it undefeated, Finn Balor is the one that finally dethrones Roman, and Roman moves on to something else as Finn finally wins back the title that he never lost and becomes the top babyface of SmackDown and keeps his NXT return edgy character that he kind of still has on SmackDown right now, and is just a really cool, tough babyface. Anyway, sorry that that's a lot of writing. As always, thanks for everything you do, and I'll hopefully talk to you next week in a voicemail.
Man, shout out to Kyle. Let me tell you something right now. When you said what you just said, when he said that Finn Balor win the Royal Rumble, and then come out at WrestleMania as the Demon King,
I love it.
I
love it.
Oh my God! Let me tell you something. Now, I'm a big Roman fan. Let me just put that out there real quickly. I love Roman. And I know one day he's got to drop the belt. And I tell you what, if he had to drop the belt at WrestleMania, what you described is what I'd want to happen.
Exactly.
That, what you just sold, Kyle, you need to fill out an application right now, a resume. Send you a resume in to LinkedIn, to WWE Creative. You need to get on there. That was a excellent storyline. Like, I'm locked in right now. I can see Finn Balor winning through the fall, through the winter, winning the Royal Rumble. And then, like you said, at WrestleMania, come out as the Demon King. Oh my God, that's incredible, Kyle. So, shout out to Kyle. Great letter. Hey, Kyle brought it tonight.
He did.
Kyle brought it. Like, Kyle, hey, you call in anytime. You leave 2-3. You tell Matt that the Mr. Casual Wrestling Fan said that you are allowed to have 3 voicemails next week. You heard that here. He's going to make it happen. Only Kyle. Anybody else, you only get 1. And if you're a super patron, you get 2. But Kyle, you get 3. So I want you to use all 3 next week. I want you to have your own segment on this show because you deserve it. So 3 voicemails to Kyle. I'm going to send that to Matt. And guess what? I'm taking over so I make it happen. So anyway, as we move along to... Oh, well, you know that sound. It means we got another email. Woohoo! Let's see who this one is from. This one is from Dennis. Okay. Shout out to Dennis. I think we've heard him a few times lately. Shout out to Dennis. Hey, anybody? Hi, Dennis. How you doing? We're going to read your letter. We appreciate you taking the time to be with us, the Casual Wrestling crew, in our takeover of the Mailbag show. So without further ado, baby.
Hi, guys. First of all, congratulations to Matt and his wife and son on the newest addition to your family. Malachi Alistair Black looked like a star on AEW. WWE dropped the ball on him. Talking about dropping the ball, but Bray Wyatt getting released? I don't know what to say or think about that. I also enjoyed the new show on the podcast by James Ludman. Very enjoyable. Vince has said recently that AEW isn't competition. Who is he trying to fool? I'm enjoying Baron Corbin at the moment. I actually look forward to seeing him every week.
All right, shout out to Dennis. Now, I seen you, you ain't put too many spaces, so we read you all as one. So we're going to break down your email. See, when the Mr. Casual Wrestling Fan and Miss Casual Wrestling Fan, when we do it, we break down your letter. That's what we do.
You break it down.
We're going to break it down tonight. So
let's do it.
We're going to start off at the beginning. So, yes, congratulations to Matt and his wife.
Congrats.
They deserve it. Shout out to Matt. I know I had to take it over tonight. That's okay. But shout out to Matt. You know, he works hard. He's got a full-time job, and then he does this podcast thing for us listeners. So we're going to be honest. We're going to give Matt his flowers. Guess what? Even during a takeover, he still gets flowers. Lord have mercy. But anyway, Aleister Black, a.k.a. Malachi Black, is doing his thing.
He is.
And I'm going to be honest with you guys. They dropped the ball with Aleister Black.
They did.
And I wish I could get a leak. And if somebody got a leak as to what the program between Aleister and Big E was going to be, because I was locked in for that. I was really to see Aleister Black versus Big E. I would love to have seen if Aleister Black somehow would have won the Money in the Bank. Lord have mercy. I mean, so I agree with you there. You know, we're 100% stamp of approval on that statement. They dropped the ball on that. About Bray Wyatt.
Man.
Now I'm going to be honest with you.
I'm with you, man.
Okay, so you get 50-50 of the panel.
He does.
See there? That's the difference when we, the casual wrestling crew, take over. You get two different opinions. So guess what? I might disagree with you. But as you heard, the beautiful Miss Casual Wrestling Fan agrees with you. You know, so here on this show, you get different opinions from different people watching wrestling in a different way. But as I was finna say, Bray Wyatt, you know, I'm gonna be honest with you guys, and I know this is probably a touchy situation, and I know this is gonna be an unpopular opinion, but I'm not shedding a tear for the character Bray Wyatt getting fired. Bray Wyatt is comparable to Braun Strowman.
Agreed.
And I'm gonna be honest, Braun Strowman, they had to throw him in a program with Shane McMahon to make him relevant. Didn't nobody care about seeing Shane McMahon fall 15 feet for the 50th time in WrestleMania. Don't nobody care no more. But see, what I don't like, you know, we have to be honest with ourselves. Bray Wyatt, how many times have you seen Bray Wyatt in 2021? Who out there wants to count up how many times you seen Bray Wyatt live in person on TV in 2021? I think it's like, what, 3?
I was about to say, you could probably count on one hand.
Yeah, honestly. If 5, maybe 5, but I thought it was more like 2 to 3.
That's pretty mad.
I mean, because I thought we seen him, then we seen him I can't remember. I don't even try to call, but I remember we seen him when Randy went against Alexa Bliss. He came out there, and then, yeah, WrestleMania. I mean, God, maybe it was one time in between them, but I mean, he ain't been relevant, so let's be honest. He's a big name. Bray Wyatt hits a chord because all of his iterations was great. Bray Wyatt is a great character. He's had great gimmicks. He's a great wrestler. And don't get me twisted as saying I don't like Bray Wyatt. He don't add. He do add when they use him, and they haven't been using him. So I feel I'm more mad about Aleister Black being fired than about Bray Wyatt being fired. And if you want to ask me a question, it's Alexa Bliss' fault. It's Alexa Bliss' fault that Bray Wyatt is fired. And I know that's, once again, another unpopular opinion, but that's just why I stand with that. That's a casual wrestling fan opinion. That's just me, though. You know, but to follow up your message, once again, this might be another unpopular opinion. AEW is not competition for WWE. And I know everybody sitting at home gasping. Really? No. What did WCW do against WWE? They got their stars and they brought them over. What is AEW doing? They committing the same sins. They taking all their stars. They spending all this capital. They're a young startup. They should be trying to build as much capital as possible. See, that's the difference. And that's why I know AEW isn't competition for WWE. The number one brand in anything, it makes stars. WWE makes stars. WWE don't have to buy stars off competing brands or competing companies to try to bolster their own brand. I mean, and that's what they're doing. They're giving us regurgitated wrestlers that WWE have threw to the wayside. And if we want to be honest, I know we get a lot of flack about the releases. I mean, Vince McMahon is like Bill Belichick for the Patriots, for the football fans out there who know what I'm talking about. I mean, he's the guy that can release Randy Moss. You know, so I don't think AEW is competition to WWE in the least bit. And if you ask me, I don't think WWE got nothing to worry about. And I wouldn't stunt AEW. You know, now their roster's getting smaller. Now, I don't know what the end game is, but that's just, once again, the casual wrestling fan opinion. And we like Corbin, too. You like Corbin?
I do.
I like Corbin as well.
I didn't at first, but he's done grew on me now.
Yeah, man, Corbin, he's a really funny guy. Like, I love the character they doing with him. He's doing great work. So, shout out to Corbin. Well, I've been sitting here talking, trying to give Matt a chance to give us another email, but since he hadn't sent one in, we're going to play another game. Okay, so this game real quickly, like I said again, you can play along at home. This is going to be Keep or Fire. Keep or Fire. So we got a mixed bag of wrestling names, and we have already pre-drawn them out, and we're going to read one. The person to tell us whether they're going to keep or fire them, and then they're going to keep going just like the other game did. So without further ado, I'm going to start it off. Reggie.
Keep. Keith Lee.
Beef Lee. We gonna keep him.
Oh, goodness. Alexa
Bliss.
You know what? Fire. Poor Alexa. You gotta go. Nia Jax.
Keep. I know that's surprising, but keep him.
I like that answer.
Kevin Owens.
Fire him.
Oh, God.
So irrelevant. Liv Morgan.
I know, unpopular, but fire her.
Ooh, I agree.
Rhea Ripley.
You better keep her.
I agree. Rhea Ripley doing big things.
How about Ricochet?
Ricochet can move, so we're going to keep Ricochet. How about Baron Corbin?
Keep.
Yeah, I like Baron Corbin.
You gotta keep him.
He's doing great work.
He's starting to grow on you like a puppy.
He is.
What about Cesaro?
Man, once again, we got to X him off.
Yeah,
we got to X out Cesaro.
It's time for that dude to go.
And you know, I love the swing. I like being back in the swing of things, but you know what that means. We got another mail.
Thanks, Matt.
All right, now this one is coming from Isaac. Okay, he's a first-time emailer.
Well, hello, Isaac.
Shout out to Isaac. Welcome to the Mailbag Show. Welcome to the WWE Podcast. Welcome to the Casual Wrestling Takeover. So without further ado, my lovely wife's going to read your email, and we're going to give you some reactions, sir.
Hello. This is my first time ever emailing you for this segment. I want to talk about John Cena versus Roman Reigns. My opinion is different from most, and that's coming from a diehard Seth Rollins fan. Shout out to you. First, I am sick of Roman as champ, which I know you disagree with me about. I also think Cena is the best wrestler of all time, and this would be the perfect time to shock the world at SummerSlam by giving Cena the record.
What?
No one expects it. I was wondering if it is even possible for Cena to win here due to the fact that people are saying he will be staying past SummerSlam, which quite honestly, I do not know if that's even accurate or just made up. Also, I may be biased, but why is the WWE making Roman the next Cena in terms of carrying the company? In my opinion, Rollins is better than him by a landslide on the mic and just as good in the ring. Also, Roman's moveset couldn't be any more boring. Everyone does the spear. Those are my takes. Thanks.
Oh my God, Dennis.
Isaac,
this Isaac. Oh God.
Isaac, you had me at first, but you lost me, buddy.
Now, I'm going to say this now. I'm going to try to be nice. Because you cut me deep. Like my heart hurt. I'm heartbroken.
Oh.
But besides the fact, all right, so let's break this down. Now, I want to put this on wax to start. John Cena is not the GOAT. He's not the GOAT. He's not nothing. Now,
He's invisible.
Now, I'm gonna be honest. All right, that's just casual wrestling fan. Yes, he's done a lot for the company. I'm not taking away from what John Cena has done, but this is my honest opinion. John Cena is not the GOAT, the best of all times. He's not the GOAT, the greatest of all time. That is for Ric Flair. That is the GOAT.
What?
That is the boat.
Ric Flair.
Yeah, Ric Flair.
Okay.
Let me tell you. I don't like that they even let John Cena get 16 championships. He shouldn't even be even with the greatest wrestler of all times. And let me give you a little stat, because my little brother like John Cena too. And next week, if I don't take over next week, I'm gonna write in and I'm gonna give you the direct number. But in the 16 championships that John Cena won, and the 16 championships that Ric Flair won, Ric Flair held his 16 championships for a combined number of almost 1,500 more days than John Cena's reigns. His days for his championships combined. So right there, casual wrestling fan is putting it to bed. I do not think John Cena's the GOAT. I'm a big Roman Reigns fan, but guess what I'm going to do for you, Isaac? Because we want you to keep calling in. We want you to keep writing in, and your opinion and values matter. So first, I agree with you. Seth freaking Rollins is great. The drip god, the drip king.
That's right.
He's great.
And
so,
he has the suits.
So there, you got the casual wrestling fan stamp of approval right there, sir. I agree. You said Roman Reigns' skill set is boring. Roman Reigns is a heel. Some heels aren't supposed to have flashy moves to make you go wow and ooh. You know, some heels have more of a slower pace. That's the point. When the face get on top, they go fast. Wham, wham, wham. They hit their little moves, crowd go wild. Then the heel slowly, methodically drags it out, beats them down. Yeah, it might not be pretty to look at because you're not a Roman Reigns fan. You're doing what you're supposed to do as a fan. You hate Roman Reigns. That's how you're supposed to feel. So, no, I'm not going to knock your opinion because you're right. We're supposed to hate Roman. We're supposed to hope he lose. We're supposed to boo Roman if that's how we feel, if that's how you want to feel. But you're totally correct in your feeling about that. I don't think WWE is making Roman. I think Roman made Roman what he is. Roman put the WWE on his back during COVID. Vince and Mac ain't had much to do with that but putting the belt on him. But Roman is the one that did the head of the table, the tribal chief. Acknowledge me, Roman Reigns. So I ain't gonna take away from Roman Reigns at all. But you're right. I'll say that. I ain't taking away from you. Your letter is right. So yes, Roman's moveset is boring because it's supposed to be. I give you that. I ain't gonna give you John Cena, but a lot of people think he's the greatest wrestler of all time, so I ain't gonna take you away from you. You got the right to feel the way you feel, but I don't share that feeling, but that's fine. And let me see. And Rollins is a great person. I don't know if he's better than Roman on the mic, but Rollins is great on the mic. He's got a great move set. I like Seth Rollins a whole lot. And so, yeah, we can agree to disagree on that one spot, but everything else is spot on. And, you know what that means. That means, let's see, let me read real quickly, guys, because I want to make sure I get it right. Okay, Matt said this is our last email of the night. Woohoo! And guess what? We're going to end it on a bang. We're going to end it with DJ Kuzmo. You deserve it, my friend.
Yes, sir.
You've been writing elegant. He said this was all one email. He sent it to me chopped up. Lord have mercy, I hate to look at it all together. So you did some writing, sir. You did some researching. You did some deep diving in your soul to pull out this great wrestling content. So we're going to read your letter right now. Thank you for writing in again. Thank you to everybody who wrote in. So without further ado, we're finna get started right now.
Bray Wyatt. The "We Want Wyatt" chants will be heard loud and clear in almost every upcoming tour stop for the WWE live shows this summer and for the rest of this year, which Vince cannot ignore. Like I mentioned before last week, I wish all the best to Bray Wyatt. Hopefully he and his wife JoJo and the kids are doing well. But it's tough to hear that such a creative mind like Bray Wyatt will no longer be in the WWE after being there for almost 10 years. However, if there is any indication that he might come back, please check his recent Instagram and Twitter post. There's an interesting message that he posted along with a photo, but to whom? Thinking emoji. I don't really know yet, but stay tuned, folks. I don't know if Bray has full creative control in licensing on The Fiend's name, character, and merchandise, because from listening to another podcast, I kinda agreed that Bray Wyatt would make an awesome horror movie writer, director, or producer. And The Fiend, as a movie character, has the potential to be a box office movie attraction. I could only imagine Bray Wyatt is thinking many type of plot twists, deep, intense storylines, cliffhanger endings, and all the other things that make a good horror TV series film.
Oh my. Let's see here. Do we want to keep going? Yeah, we'll keep going. Yeah, go ahead and finish this letter off. We're gonna give it to you in a full dose. So let's dose it off.
Another quick side note. I'm actually a fan of horror movies, but specifically those from the 1980s, like Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street, Halloween, and Sleepaway Camp. If you haven't seen Sleepaway Camp 1, 2, or 3, it's one of those cheesy, crying, laughing emoji faces 80s horror flicks that you kind of know from the get-go who was going to be killed. However, the ending of the first Sleepaway Camp movie is very bizarre and one of the most jarring moments that ever happened in the history of horror movies. Damn, I went on another tangent. My bad, crying and laughing emojis.
Oh, man.
Back to Bray Wyatt.
Oh, we're coming back.
With that being said, if Bray Wyatt decided to pursue a career in TV film, he's definitely got the creative mind for it. He's got a bright future for horror writing, directing, or producing for TV shows or films. One of the blessings of being released is that a wrestler is no longer limited to doing just one thing, but he or she can do many things to generate more income. I'm happy for Bray Wyatt, and for wherever he decides to go, or for whatever he decides to do next. Thank you, Wyatt. Thank you, Wyatt. Best regards, DJ Kuzmo. P.S. No voicemail or voice recording from me this week. Definitely next week as we gear up for NXT TAKEOVER 36 and SummerSlam on a Saturday. AEW Rampage, which is planned to be a 1 hour this Friday, I am definitely going to check that out right after SmackDown. Oh, one more thing. An awesome Buddy Murphy vignette was recently posted. There's some interesting similarities between the Vignette and Malachi Black's how do you say, Mr. Callaghan? Vignette from last month or the month before. When you watch the Buddy Murphy's and Malachi Black's vignette back to back, look for any patterns that can possibly lead to something between the wrestlers in their near future. Really great stuff. Great time to be a wrestling fan. Peace. Peace emoji.
Peace emoji. See, DJ Kuzbo, shout out to you. Lord have mercy. This is some good stuff. And I'll tell you this. You know, that's how I was talking to the guy that emailed earlier who was down on wrestling. Wasn't there Randy the patron who was down on the quality? Mm-hmm. You know, across wrestling fans, you can get a different outlook to wrestling. And that's what wrestling's for. It should be interpreted in different ways. Now, DJ, this letter you wrote, once again, hey, great. I don't want to add nothing to it. You said it greatly. I just want to hit a couple points real quick. And I can't take nothing from you. Like, everything you said was said perfectly. I know Matt read these before he sent them. I know he said, man, DJ. You know, I can't do Matt's voice right now, but you guys know what he sounds like. As far as Bray Wyatt being a movie creator, whether it be director, producer, all three writers. I agree. I mean, I think he does have the mindset for it. Now, I don't know what he owns of the Fiend. Maybe he does. I couldn't see Vince McMahon letting him own that. I mean, that seems really like big to let somebody own the Fiend character. And maybe he does. I mean, I'm not really big on that. You know, we'll see if we can get Matt to answer that question. But I do think Bray Wyatt has a mind for creating great content way beyond wrestling. So I think, yes, I agree. You know, if I was you, DJ, I'm going to be honest, and this might sound crazy or quirky, I'd send him a DM. Let him know how you feel. You know, and I feel like, you know, us as wrestling fans, we got to remember that. You know, you guys are these people's fans. Email them. Shoot them a direct message. That's what they're there for. That's what their socials for. Hey, they might hit you back. So, hey, shoot him a DM. Tell him that. Tell him, hey, head up. You need to use your creative power for some. I'm okay in the horror flicks. I ain't really big on it. I'm not really a movie buff, period. You can ask my wife.
I am.
I haven't even seen all the Saws.
Oh, man.
So,
we're catching up on
that. I haven't seen Godfather. You know what I mean? But yeah, so I totally agree with you. Let me see anything else you said. Yeah, the vignettes. Yeah, it could be some correlation there. You know, I'm not big or good at reading in between the lines, but yeah, I totally agree. It could be something there. I feel bad for Bray Wyatt, as I said earlier. I do see why they did it. I don't think it's wrong, in my opinion, but that's just me. I'm nobody. But with that being said, I want to thank you, DJ, as always, for great content. I want to thank everybody else who
thank you, everyone
who emailed in. You know, thank you for taking the time out of your day to give us your opinion.
That's
because
right.
Your opinion matters here. Not even here. We're during the casual wrestling takeover. You know what I mean? And we've had fun with you guys. You know, I'm going to do a half takeover. You know, I told you guys I'm going to leave when I feel like it. You know, it's getting late where I'm at. You know, it's even later other places, but it's 9 o'clock and I got school kids. You know, me and the wife, we got to get to doing what we got to do. So we're going to do a half takeover this week. We're going to give you guys half a takeover, you know. So I guess I'll pass it back to Matt. We'll see. What you think, baby? We ought to pass it back to Matt.
Yeah.
You hear that?
He probably needs something to do now.
He probably, maybe the baby sleep. Then the baby sleep.
That's the joke of the year.
You know, that's the newest member for everybody of the casual wrestling crew. Is Matt's newborn. The baby kidnapped Matt for these little times so we could sneak away and take over his show without him knowing. But we're going to give it back to him. We're going to be nice. We're going to be nice people. It's getting late.
That's
great. But I thank you guys for riding with us for this little venture we just took together. You know, it was fun taking over. It's fun having fun with you guys, reading you guys' emails, having a chance to give you two different perspectives, you know, and try a different format. You know, sometimes you call into the show, you hear the same thing, it gets old. But guess what? I want everybody, get your pens out, get your phones out, write down this number right here. Give it to them again for the last time, buddy.
The number is 518-952-0247, guys.
Get your voicemails in. We're going into SummerSlam. We're going into the hot season. Everything's going crazy. You got Roman. You got John Cena. You got Bobby Lashley. You got Goldberg. You got Charlotte Flair. You got Rhea Ripley. You got Bianca Belair. You got Sasha Banks. You got AJ Omos. You got possibly RK Bro. It's going crazy. Get in on it. Get in. Get your opinions in. You can email in at realwwepodcast@gmail.com. Again, realwwepodcast@gmail.com. Thank you guys for riding with us tonight. We're going to sign off now. If you guys have any questions, opinions, write in, voice in. Thank you. And you want to tell anything before we go by?
It was a pleasure to be on the show, and I'm very happy for Matt and his little family, and we can't wait to hear about the new addition. Thank you to all the fans who wrote in or whoever just listens. Thank you guys so much. You made this first time experience awesome.
Very fun. Thank you to everybody. So The Casual Wrestling Crew is now going to relinquish the power back to Matt. So we're not going to do that cliche stuff he says. We're just going to say Casual Wrestling Crew out.